Jeff Peterson from Heartland Farm Partners is our marketing analyst this week. The USDA Monday updated its estimates on the sizes of the 2014 corn and soybean crops for the U.S. The production and average yield numbers for corn and soybeans are new records for those harvests. The average corn yield of 171 bushels per acre is a new high by 6.3 bushels per acre. The average soybean yield is a new top by 3.8. Nebraska will be the third largest corn producer for 2014 and the fifth biggest grower of soybeans. The agency also released its latest quarterly stocks report Monday, showing corn stocks up 7% from a year ago and soybean stocks 17% higher. We talked with Jeff Friday morning for his thoughts on the reports and how markets reacted. As we look at this crop report, let's start in corn. Give me your thoughts on the size of the crop and the stocks numbers that we saw Monday.
Yeah, as we looked at the report, a few surprises out there. Seeing the yield go down 2.4 bushels, I think was a shock to a lot of people. And actually only seeing the acres go up, harvested went up about 39,000. Bringing those together though, Jeff, it still showed production off 191 million. Now, how that flowed through to the bottom line, that all-important ending stock number we talk about, they made another adjustment. They actually ended up reducing the amount of feed demand by 100 million bushels. So at the end of the day, stocks were down 121 million from last month. It put us at 1.877 billion bushels. About in line with, I think, what we were thinking, maybe a little bit below, but probably a little bit lower than what some in the industry thought.
Let's move into soybeans then. First, the size of the crop and then the stocks number in that as well.
Yeah, as we took a look at soybeans, you know, they ended up cutting 300,000 acres out of the harvested number, which that was kind of a little bit of a surprise. They did end up raising yield up. They brought that up about 0.3 of a bushel. But at the end of the day, our ending stock stayed the same, right at 410 million. They were able to accomplish that by increasing that export number. They brought that up about 10 million bushels compared to last month.
I think the last time we talked, you had mentioned that you thought soybean exports could go up farther. Just give me the export scene for soybeans right now.
Boy, it's amazing, Jeff. To kind of put it in perspective for you, this last week when the report came out on Thursday, it showed we still sold another 819,000 metric tons for the week. We only need to sell 19,000 a week going forward. What that really means is if we have one more week like that, we will match USDA's export numbers for the year already. So the demand has been good on beans.
Why has it been so good as we get ready to see a South American harvest here in a few weeks?
I think that a little bit of the concern coming in, the main player being China, we talk to them a lot. You know, that South American crop got planted a little bit later than normal, and I think China is sitting there going, we're going to buy a few extra beans, make sure that we don't get caught short so that we can get the amount of supply that we want, in case there's any problems getting it from the field to the ship.
What are your thoughts on the size of this South American crop? And obviously when you look to South America, a lot of the attention gets paid to Brazil.
Yeah, the main attention is on Brazil. You know, if we were to focus really our attention on really kind of the northeast area and really drill it down to two main particular growing areas, Bahia and Minas Gerais, that area makes up about 6.5% of the production for Brazil. That area has been a little dry. And there has been some concern that that dryness is going to spread. However, what we're seeing is we're seeing that ridge break down. We're seeing some additional moisture come in. I don't think we can say the ridge is completely gone yet, but our forecast would show in another 3-4 days we should see some improved precip coming through many of those areas.
I want to step back to the reports and tell me how markets reacted after those reports came in on Monday and then, you know, in the subsequent days.
Yeah, you know, once those reports came out, you find out where everybody's positioned, right? On the day of the report, which had been back on Monday, corn tried to work its way higher. You know, it worked up higher during the course of the day. Beans really right out of the gun started its way lower and worked its way lower. And as we look at through the week, we've seen both corn and beans just kind of grinding themselves lower, coming back to some key support areas, but it's still on a downtrend here.
Moving into oil, what effect, if any, have sustained lower oil prices had on either corn or beans?
Yeah, they've definitely had an impact. It's hard to believe, thinking back to just October, that really prices for oil were twice what they are now. It has had an impact. I think the biggest impact can be seen on really the ethanol stocks. Right now what the situation is you've got ethanol at a 9-year low. Unfortunately, the price of ethanol is still above the price of gasoline. So any of that discretionary blending we've talked about, ultimately that ends up not happening. So then we switch over and look at from the production side. So far production is held in there very strong. Year to date we're up about 5.3%. USDA only believes we're going to be up about 0.8%, but a big concern. The concern is a lot of the margins, as we look at just the board margins for those plants right now, they are showing some negative returns. And so that's going to have an impact on that industry unless they've hedged themselves going forward.
Do you maintain your positive outlook on ethanol, though, as we go for 2015?
Well, that's a complicated one.
Yeah.
You know, the last time we kind of talked about this, we had oil prices higher than where we were today.
Yeah.
But I think the big key as we come into it is ethanol demand from here forward, could it drop? It can drop a little bit, but in order for that to happen, what's going to happen is I think we'd have to see a reduction by EIA for the 2015 mandate. If they don't come in and change that, I still think we're going to come in pretty close to USDA's number on the ethanol side.
So where corn is right now, where beans are right now, how do you explain the value, overvalued, undervalued?
Yeah, I think what we can do is let's roll back time to October. What's happened since October to now is because the funds actually have came in and they bought about 1.5 billion bushels with a B of grain, of corn and beans. That took this market high, got it overvalued. Initially that happened because of the tightness in soybeans. I think there's still a premium being carried in the soybeans because of the unknown yet on the size of the South American crop. The corn one's a tougher one to go ahead and wrap the mind around. You know, we felt that it got overvalued mainly on speculative and technical trading, not based on where the fundamentals were at.